Okay, let's knock out this next audition. Announcer style, charismatic, and confident.
Hey guys, it's DJ. Welcome back to the channel. If it's your first time here, welcome. This video popped up on Newsfeed yesterday from Robert Valena, and it's another voiceover YouTube creator. I think he's newer to the industry from what I've seen. And what stuck out to me about his video, which we'll play here in a second, was firstly how genuine and authentic he comes across in the video. I'll be pausing throughout, so please be understanding. But I'm really interested to give my insights on how do I find voiceover coaching as a beginner. Keep in mind, guys, I'm not a voiceover coach right now, okay? So this is not a pitch for my services. I don't offer any services.
Okay, let's knock out this next audition. Announcer style, charismatic, and confident. All right, I got this. Let's see how it goes. Renowned as the most successful college football coach of all time. Renowned as the most successful football coach. Renowned as the most successful college football.
Just real quick, it just made me pop. It popped in my mind now. If I were to read that, it was renowned as the most successful college football coach. I can't remember exactly, but it sounds like it's an opening to something. So just for that one sentence, I would definitely slow down, okay? Because the most of anything is something that needs to be heard and understood by the audience, digested, right? So instead of saying renowned as the most successful basketball coach or football coach, it should be something like renowned as the most successful football coach or renowned as the most successful football coach. Like there needs to be some, I don't want to say grandeur, but it needs to be billboarded a bit. I know that's not the point of this video here, but it just popped in my mind. That's first impressions are lasting impressions. And if you're doing an audition, you got to make sure that you let that first line hit.
Try another line. His stats don't lie. He knows exactly how to maximize each player's potential. With the record-breaking...
I think this is like a documentary narration or maybe a corporate narration. I'm not really sure, but you got to tell a story. Robert, first off, nice effort there. If I were to give a tip right now, I would say, tell the story. Like, his stats don't lie. Really? Do they really not lie? Then tell me they don't lie. Yo, real talk, this guy, he's like the greatest coach of all time. And his stats don't lie. He does this, and this. Like, add some flavor to it. I don't know if that's, natural to him, but like, how would you say, like, you're trying to convince somebody? It's a persuasive argument. So like, yo, real talk, his stats don't lie. Don't be afraid to take risks like that.
So I'm recording this episode today from Walk-In Studios because I wanted to drive home a point. My last video, if you recall, I listed out 5 goals that I had for this year. Well, very stupidly, I left out a very, very important goal and probably the most important one. I need coaching. I need serious coaching, and I need it ASAP. There's many different ways to get coaching. Some people will encourage you to do one-on-one. Some people encourage you to do workshops. Some people encourage you to do acting classes before even attempting coaching. That's probably why I haven't really jumped in, because I've looked into all different types of coaching and recommendations that I've come across, and all it's done is made me more confused. So let's talk about that.
Yo, props on the video quality, man. I don't know if you have a filmmaking background, but yo, I love the framing here. It does not feel like a standard, hey, I'm recording from my booth. Look at me, I'm a voice actor. This is refreshing. I like this. Very YouTube creator-ish.
Okay, so coaching and voiceover. Quite honestly, it's probably what you should spend the most amount of money on as you invest in yourself and in your business. And it's something that I could say foolishly haven't really done so myself, but if you've been following my journey, you know that employment has been a thing, and lack of it, most importantly. And I'm actually approaching my 2-year anniversary of when I got laid off and still haven't found really steady, gainful employment. So that's been tough because coaching isn't free.
Okay, so if you're trying to pursue voiceover, I just got to get it out there now because I was a bit naive at the beginning. This is not a get rich quick kind of thing. And I'm not saying that he thinks that. But for anybody who watches this video or his video, like, do not go into this with the expectation that it's going to start paying your bills, at least not in the short term. I don't know his financial situation, but obviously he's an adult. He can do what he wants to do. But if you're like, I want to be a voice actor, I'm going to quit my job and go full-time in training for voice acting, I do not recommend that. I do not recommend it at all, especially not in 2025's economy.
So up until now, I've spent a lot of time consuming as many hours as I can on YouTube and on the internet, trying to find as much coaching advice as I can find.
There you go.
And it's at the point where it's only gotten me so far. I like sharing my progress here, and as I've spoken before, Voices.com is the only major platform that I've been using for auditions. And I was really excited when I got my first Voices job. It was fantastic. I made a whole video about it. But ever since, that has been the only job that I've won. Now, it's been one client that gave me 3 separate jobs, so my booking ratio looks better than it should be, because I really have only booked with one client. I have 12 short lists, which for the amount of auditions that I've submitted probably isn't a great ratio. So while I might have some things in order.
12 shortlists. Okay, let's just assume he's submitted 100 auditions on Voices.com. 12 shortlists, that's a 12% shortlist ratio. That's pretty damn stellar if you haven't had any formal training. If it's over 100, I mean, still, many of you guys have said that you can't even get shortlisted. So guys, do not downplay small wins, okay? Especially if you know that you haven't had coaching and you know you're still a beginner. If you got shortlisted, man, that's the market telling you something, okay? That's a good sign, okay? It's a very good sign that there's potential there. And if you already booked the job, I only booked one job as a repeat client, blah, blah, blah. Guys, the moment somebody's willing to give you money to do your voiceover, it is a win, okay? Do never downplay your wins. And I know he said he was excited when he first got the job, but now it's kind of gone like nothing else has happened. But it's a spiral, guys. And I mentioned this in a video before. As a voice actor or any creative, it is up to you as the creative to be unrelentingly and tenaciously a self-believer. You cannot self-doubt. You gotta say, I'm gonna make this happen, and take the initiatives to keep growing. But yo, Robert, man, you gotta pick your chin up, dude. 12 shortlists when most folks in my comment section said they haven't even gotten a shortlist. Come on, man. You can't downplay your wins like that.
To the point where I can get a handful of shortlists, I'm just not winning the jobs. I don't know if it's me not submitting the auditions soon enough, or if it really is just the fact that I'm at my limit for what I can attain on my own with self-coaching and self-teaching. So that's going to be my next step. I don't know why I left it off of my 5 goals for the.
Let's keep let's be realistic. You know, he said that he got the 12 shortlists, but he just hasn't booked anything else. On Voices.com, even I don't book very often on Voices.com. I don't go on Voices.com anymore these days, simply because I have more success on Voice 123, and I don't like some of the things that Voices.com does. However, Voices.com was one of the first pay-to-plays, if not the first. And people have been there for a long time, you know, and they have, gotten their ranking up. I don't know what the ranking system's like now, but Voices.com is going to continue showing them algorithmically to buyers. And so when you submit for an audition as a new person, the buyer can see that. You know, if your audition is blowing them out of the water, they're going to shortlist you. They shortlist him, but he's not booking the job. But you also have to understand that if you get shortlisted, the shortlist could be 25 people. You know what I'm saying? It could be 50 people. It might be 10 people. You don't know, but you still have to compete with the final list. And there are really, really great actors on Voices.com, dude. Like, people that I can't even beat are on Voices.com. And so Keep it in perspective, guys. You're not competing against other new voice actors. You're competing against really good fucking people, okay? So, yeah, man, like, it is not because you've reached your limit as a new talent or reached your limit without coaching. I'm not saying that it hasn't contributed, the lack of training, and that there could be improvements to be made, but it is just very competitive. To put that in another way, there are auditions that come from one of the top casting agencies in the United States. It's called Sound and Fury. Tina Morasco, I've mentioned her many times, and I'll mention her later in the video when we start talking about coaching. Tina Morasco says that she, if it's like something like Apple or Google, like these big names, she's getting close to 1,000 auditions from across the country, guys. 1,000. You know what I'm saying? I've only, as far to my knowledge, what she's told me, I've only been shortlisted on one of them, and I've auditioned for many Sound and Fury castings. It is extremely competitive, and so you cannot say, I haven't booked the job, I'm not a great voice actor, or I'm not good. You can't do that, okay? Please, guys, keep your positivity. Don't have like blind optimism, obviously, but he's obviously not blind to it because he's mentioning he needs coaching, so.
A year, maybe because it really is just kind of a given. But as an amendment to my last video, coaching is absolutely going to be my next step. But I wanted to reach out to you guys because I know some of you that follow me are established voice actors, have been in the business for a while. What avenue did you take? Did you take one-on-one lessons first? Did you go workshop first? Do you come from an acting background? I have absolutely no acting experience whatsoever.
Me neither.
So I don't have that to pull from. So I've been recommended to go to acting classes first, or maybe some improv workshops.
Yeah. Improv's good.
I really don't know. Honestly, the whole stage thing, acting and the improv thing kind of terrifies me, but I'm willing to do it if I get enough recommendations for that being my next step. I think tentatively, or I don't know if tentatively is the right word, but at least for the time being, what I've made up my mind is to at least join some workshops. I don't know if these workshops are free, some of these ones that are out there, if they're like the Facebook groups or what, or something completely different. And I'm hoping to get some recommendations from you guys as well. But I hear workshops are a good way to go. So that's one of the things that I'll be focusing on. And this video is going to serve, hopefully, for those following the journey or coming across it way in the future, this video hopefully comes across as a representation of another low in the trajectory of starting a business like this. Things can seem to go great for a while. You get reached out to for auditions and things like that. And the totally organic reach outs that I got through my website, that was all fantastic.
I'm gonna stop the video here for a second. We're almost to the end anyway, but look, we'll watch the rest. He mentioned he's gonna start getting into coaching, one-on-one workshops. He asked what you guys or us we recommend. He's done what I have always recommended, which is to digest as much free information as possible, because there's enough free information out there to do what he's doing now, which is to put yourself behind the microphone and start auditioning. Many people don't even make it past this step. You tell them to go look for free information, and like for some reason, it's like, nah, I got to do work. This work, I don't want to do it. And so they never really get going. It's the whole failure to launch kind of thing. Robert is not that case. He's at a natural stage of progression in his career, and I think it's time to have a really serious discussion about training. Before you make a decision between workshops and one-on-one coaching, me personally, I started with one-on-one coaching. If I could go back, would I start with one-on-one coaching? I would not. The reason being, it's expensive, firstly. I don't know what all y'all's financial situation's like, but one-on-one coaches can range anywhere from $50 an hour to $200 an hour. Some I've heard can be, I think it's $260 an hour. And I think that's a bit atrocious, to be honest with you. But one-on-one coaching you're going to get the most value from it if you already have some kind of foundational understanding of who you are as a person, as an actor. Meaning every person can be their normal self. It can be like summed up in a few adjectives. Like for me, usually it's like authentic, humorous, witty, and then something like just real. Like that's kind of like my archetype, if you would. And I tend to have more like a dad, father, or teacher archetype. Others might have something like the dude archetype, or somebody might have like the what's his name? The guy with he's always referenced, and it's a shame that I can't remember his name. But they throw out references like Matthew McConaughey's the dude, the suave dude. You have Sam, there's his name. Sam Elliott is more of like that, salt of the earth, gravitas kind of person. Like you can understand who you are the longer you go in this industry. And so before you go for one-on-one coaching, you want to discover that. And the best way to discover that is doing what he's doing, which is to audition. It's to start getting shortlisted, pay attention to what you're getting shortlisted for, and start noticing if there's a trend, because that'll kind of tell you where the market likes you. It's not saying that that's where you need to be, but if you're trying to find out who you are, the market will tell you what they're willing to pay you for. Okay, so pay attention to those things. And then start with workshops. If you're going to choose between one-on-one and coaching and workshops, you're going to get more value from workshops because they will put you in a room with 5 to 10 other voice actors. And you can even audit these workshops. You don't have to participate, and you still get great value from it. Because the value from a workshop, you're only going to read for maybe 10 to 20 minutes out of that 3-hour workshop. Like, you're not going to get a lot of practice time, one-on-one anyway, with the coach. The value from a workshop comes from getting 9 other perspectives from other voice actors while you also have the copy in front of you. And so if the person comes and says, oh yeah, I'm going to read this Amazon copy. And the coach is like, okay, we'll give feedback after you're done. Go to give me 2 reads. Hopefully, you also read at the same time that the other person's reading, or you've read it already and understand what you would do, or maybe you've pre-recorded it, and you can listen back to the feedback that the coach is giving, or the agent, whoever is hosting the workshop, that they're giving that talent. And you can say, the coach says, well, you did this here, and I would do this differently. And you listen to your read and like, oh shit, I did that too. I should probably make that change. So there's a lot of value to be had from workshops just by virtue of kind of like getting, what's the word I want to use? Like, it's just so many options that you can pull from. And people might do things that you would have never even thought of. You're like, wow, I want to incorporate that, or I want to try that in my next read. So and one of the coolest things is when 2 or 3 or 4 talent choose the same copy, and you're like, wow, all of us read it the same, a different way. None of us sounded the same, and that's where you begin to realize and understand that nobody's really going to read the copy the same way, because if you're acting, then you're bringing your perspective to that copy, right? Your point of view, and everybody's point of view is different and colored and shaped by your life experiences, by your background. I don't know what his work background is, but depending on what the context is, and he could draw on experiences from his past job to help tell that story. And so you'll have so many different stories being told on the same copy, because the theater of the mind, what you've imagined while you're reading the copy, is going to be different. Nobody is the same. Even identical twins will have different interpretations of that copy. So workshops are highly, highly valuable. Some sources for workshops that I can think off the top of my head right now: Sound and the Furry, Furry. Sound and the Furry offers workshops with agents and casting directors, and also other voice talent. Gravy for the Brain offers workshops and webinars. GVAA offers webinars, and they have coaches on their roster that work for them. Tina Morasco. Again, I'm always going to drop Tina. Tina is the one. Okay, guys, Tina is the one. She offers workshops multiple times a month. And if you can get in with one of her workshops, my God, it will propel you further in one workshop than a lot of these one-on-one coaches will do for you in multiple sessions. And I'll take that to the grave. That is factual, okay? So definitely go with workshops, Robert. As far as one-on-one coaching, I'm going to, in the second half of this video, give you some things to think about when choosing a one-on-one coach, because there are a lot of charlatans out there. And there are a lot of people who, let me see, I think you mentioned
I've seen nothing since.
Hold on.
So I have to be real with myself, and I have to figure out a way to get that coaching under my belt. Listen, the finances are a very harsh reality. And for someone watching this, maybe that's the case for you as well. So
this is how AI
Wow, an ad. Ugh.
optimizes my schedule.
Anyways.
This meeting got canceled. Hooray! We didn't really want to go anyway.
I'm going to try and figure this out and see how I can get some good quality coaching.
By the way, usually I don't have ads on my other YouTube accounts, the YouTube Premium, but I often like to listen to pre-roll ads so that I can hear the reads. But that was not one of those ads that had a voiceover on it. It was just somebody talking, so I will skip those. But if I see like a pre-roll for like Instacart or something, and there's a voiceover on it, I will listen to it to hear the read. And it's a great way to understand what the current trends are in the market.
Coaching under my belt, not fall into the trap of going for one of these, supposedly the internet's loaded with all these online coaches that decided to add another skill set to their belt during COVID and maybe don't quite have the qualifications to be a coach.
Yo, I don't know if you saw that in my video and that's why you're mentioning it, but I have been talking about this for years. Man, some of these folks I hear will put the name coach in their website and have like a calendar. You can book them and they'll talk about how they have 15 or 19 or 25 or 100 years of experience in the industry. And that is why they are qualified to coach you. And let me tell you, man, I have been burned. I have been burned by that. I've actually been in a coaching session where the coach didn't even know as much as I did. His performance was not as good as my performance. And I was cordial. I still paid the man his money, but I never went back. Be careful when you see coaches in YouTube comments. I have had several people who call themselves voiceover coaches try to shill their services in my YouTube comments. And I do not appreciate that, and I remove them. My YouTube channel is not a place for you to shill your coaching services. But if you see somebody coaching or telling you that they're a coach in your YouTube comments or in some YouTube comments, be very wary. Be very wary, because that is just a common. Any business is going to use that strategy to get cold leads and get interest, and hopefully somebody sees the comment, goes to the website, books a consultation call with them, and forks over some money. But I've always been of the mind that if you have to shill your coaching services in somebody's YouTube comments or on another voiceover talent's YouTube comments, then you're not really a good coach, or you're not a coach worth booking with. Most coaches that are worth booking with don't have to advertise their services. They just don't. It's either word of mouth or word of industry. The industry will vet them and let you know. Like either they'll be asked to host workshops. They will be asked to speak at VO Atlanta or at One Voice. They will be invited to podcasts. These types of coaches let their reputation speak for themselves. Now, that's not to say that there's something wrong with like promoting your services, but you shouldn't go on somebody else's YouTube channel and drop a comment and say, "Oh, guys, I have 25 years of experience or 10 years of experience. You need coaching. This is your problem. Book me. Come to my website." Ugh, it just screams, I am not a great voice actor. Look, man, he has a valid concern. There are a lot of people who call themselves coaches who are not qualified to be coaches. And when I say qualified, I don't mean like there's a certification, but coaching is, it's teaching, and you have to have an understanding of humans and of people, and be able to help a person find themselves and discover themselves. And that's really hard to do. Many people, when they say they're a coach, they just regurgitate the things that they were taught, or they've got some, I don't know, some syllabus from ChatGPT and just roll with it. Everybody's going to tell you about your booth. Everybody's going to tell you about how to set up your microphone. Everybody's going to tell you, here are the 5 demo reads. Here, oh God, Robert, please be careful, man. If somebody says they're a coach and they also offer demo production services, be very wary. Be very wary because they have, I don't want to say ulterior motives, but ultimately they would love for all of their students to book demos with them, okay? And again, I'm not saying that all people who are coaches and offer demo services are necessarily bad or have ulterior motives, but every great coach that I've worked with does not produce demos, okay? They can recommend demo producers, but they themselves do not offer demo production services. I feel like that's a conflict of interest, okay? If you're a coach and you offer demo production services, what are you coaching me for? Because they're going to say, oh, yeah, I'll coach you. You don't need to get demos with me. I do offer the service. If there's something you want to do, I offer demo productions, but, you can go with anybody else, blah, 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 blah. No, sir. There are enough great coaches, exceptional coaches out there that do not offer demo production services. Conflict of interest always stays in the back of my mind. Anyways, let's finish this and I'll give some final thoughts about how to choose a coach.
I suppose you can ask the potential coach a ton of questions to see what they tell you. How do you know they're being truthful or not?
Exactly.
So that's where I'm at right now. I'm not going to try to make this video overly long, but this video is here to serve as a representation of the fact that this is one of these bumps in the road that I have to get past. I have to realize to myself that I have reached my limits as to how far I can come on my own merit without coaching, without training. You hear about some of these people that are very established, supposedly, and they make all this money and never had a lick of coaching. That's great. That didn't work out for me. I'm going to need it, and I'm going to need it pretty soon.
Yeah, I think there's a misconception that people can have great voiceover careers without any coaching. I find that to be not the case. I personally got very, very far with minimal coaching. But I attribute my ability to do that from spending the previous 4 years making YouTube content, talking head videos and vlog stuff like that. So I was already familiar with how I sound and how to be myself in front of a camera and as a substitute in front of a microphone. And what Robert is doing, I mentioned this in the beginning of the video, what he's doing is actually helping build his skill as a voice actor. Robert, and I'm talking directly to you now, like you have a very good conversational, real grounded sound. If the specs call for real and grounded, guys, do you hear this? Like, listen to this.
Because actually, when it comes to employment, I actually did finally land a job. It's going to be about a month before I can start. So I have
when it comes to employment, I actually did find the job and I'm going to be doing this. Like, if you can find a way to bottle that up, that realness that just came through this whole 8-minute video, if you can find a way to bottle that up and bring it to any read that asks for real, authentic, genuine, believable, personable, conversational, that is it, man. Guys, one of the hardest things to do in voice acting is to be yourself in front of the microphone. Suddenly we get in front of the microphone and we just turn into like a performer. Oh, hey guys, hey, what's up, man? Yeah, man. All right, bro, I'll holler at you. In a world. Like, it's like suddenly it just turns off. What he's doing is what I keep trying to tell you guys to do. I'm going to keep driving it home. This is a way to improve by yourself for free. Record yourself talking about mundane shit. Okay? Record a video, and get a whole 100 video library. And then watch them. Watch yourself. And I don't mean that in a way like, yeah, I'm watching myself. Yeah. Like, I mean, really, like, wow, okay, that's how I sound. Oh, this is what my hands do when I'm being vulnerable. In this whole video, you can turn the sound off and just watch how he is. His body language. He's being very vulnerable, especially here in the latter half of the video. This right here, look at this. That little head tilt he did, and he's kind of hunched forward, and he's leaning. If you're doing a voiceover and you want to be vulnerable, like, my wife and I, like when we were looking for a home, we didn't really know about what to do. See that little head thing? We didn't really know about loans and what to do. So we reached out to my boy John. You know, he's into mortgages and stuff, and he gave me some good advice. Like that body language will help him tell the story. It will help you tell your story if that's natural to you. But you will never know to do that if you don't record yourself and watch yourself. Guys, Robert is already leaps and bounds ahead of many people who say they want to get into voice acting because he understands, without even understanding that he understands, he already understands how to improve by himself. He doesn't need a coach at this moment. In my personal opinion, he can continue making these videos as long as he goes back and watches them. I would make even more of them. I think he doesn't upload very often. He doesn't upload very often. But Robert, dude, man, you got a great conversational sound. Not even conversational, just real. Real. I could easily see you being the dad role. I could easily see you being an authoritative thing. I mean, probably in some of these other videos, you've talked in an authoritative way. There was videos where you booked a job, I think, and you were really excited about it. Like, all of these are basically you talking in different tones. I'm using the word tone to oversimplify it. It's really acting. The acting comes in, if we just go to this video real quick. I don't know this video, but let me see.
It would take up to 24 hours, but a week later, I still haven't heard back.
Excitement.
Come to find out, you can offer commercial rights, full broadcast rights.
Oh, here's a good example.
Commercial rights.
This is an authoritative read right here, guys. He is being authoritative because he's teaching you how to set up his first fiber gig or how to set up your first fiber gig. What did the specs say? You are a person who's telling a friend how to book a hotel on hotels.com. That's your role. All he has to do is in his mind is replace voice or hotels.com with fiber gig. However I love it, man. It's helping me tell the story so well right now. If he books a role to be that role for hotels.com, if I were him, I would go back and watch this video over and over and over again and watch what I did and how I sounded when I was talking about the fiber gig.
They're going to be used for
the finger pointing,
social media campaigns.
But it's still so approachable. It's authoritative and approachable. Man, dude, thank you so much, Robert, for making this content because you're helping me to drive the point home. All of you guys need to pull out your camera and start talking to the camera, man. He's got authoritative there. What else you got, man? We're here now. I'm gonna come in here, dude. Let me see. You got any other excitement? Any excitement coming up? I want to hear the excitement. Where's the excitement?
Now, you may remember in some of my prior videos that I've talked about all the planning that I've done for this, all of the research that I've done, all the videos that I've watched.
Yeah, it looks very similar to the first video that we watched. This whole thing is about, but no, it's actually not. You can hear that he's got an undertone of excitement and drive in what he's saying. It's pushing the story forward. If the casting specs are calling for an upbeat read, that's your upbeat read right there.
Watched some of the online coaches, some of the established
And how do you make it sound even more upbeat? Well, he's got the body language leaning forward. That's the first step. I would probably try to sit up more like this and see how that changes his voice. Add a smile, brighten the eyes. All these little tiny adjustments. I made a whole video about this. It's how to do the conversational read and also how to do the authoritative read. It'll go over the body language of things. But guys, man, I'm so glad that I found this video today because it allows me to drive what I've always been talking about home. Let's talk about coaches and how to find one-on-one coaches, because this is a question that's been asked multiple times on my channel. I do not endorse any coaches except for two. And I'm not endorsing them because they pay me. I'm endorsing them because they were career changers for me. The first one is Tina Morasco. I mentioned her earlier in the video. You can go to TinaMorascoCoaching.com or TinaMorasco.com. Just Google Tina Morasco. She'll come out. Fantastic coach. Very, very down to earth, very approachable, very kind. And she actually offers a video library. I think one of my viewers, I think her name is Voiceover Teresa, left a comment yesterday or today saying that she actually paid for the library. It's not super cheap. I think it's like $250 or $400 or something like that, depending on what the promotion is. But even she said, like, wow, it's amazing. And it is so good. It takes her workshop and puts it into a video format so you can always revisit it anytime you want to. It's so much so worth it. Because booking one session with Tina is like $200 for an hour. And she books months in advance. Like, I think she might be up to a year in advance now if you want to book a coaching session one-on-one with her. But the second coach I always recommend is Donovan Cornitz, also a booking actor, one of the top promo voices in the United States right now. He is the promo voice for The Today Show. He's a promo voice for CNN. He's also a promo voice for, I think it's BET. He's all over the place, man. And he books commercials all the time. But Donovan Cornitz is another coach. He's kind of different from Tina in that Tina is more like coaxing and gentle, whereas Donovan's like, yo, that read was shit. Read it again. Like, but he won't just like tell you that. He'll give you feedback and tell you to change it. So they're kind of opposites in the way they do it, but both of them gave me results. When I first started coaching, I chose wrong coaches. When I first started coaching with Tina, game change. When I started coaching with Donovan for promo, oh my God. Those two are the reasons why I got coastal representation. I'm with Vox Talent in LA. And they're also the reason why I got interest from my manager that decided to sign me earlier this year, ACM Talent. And so they played a pivotal role in allowing me to do that. But why do you need a voiceover coach, or when do you need a voiceover coach? You need a voiceover coach because they are going to help you basically take who you are. You should already know who you are, generally speaking, and fine-tune things. They are not there to help you build the sandcastle from the foundation. You should already have a foundation, and the coach's job is to help you add little details, carve out a little window, put a little flag on the top, add some awnings or something to the building. They are not there to build the building. You should have already built the building in workshops and self-training. This is my perspective on it. I'm not saying this is the law, okay? But you asking my opinion, this is what it is. So don't think that if you're like, oh, I don't know how to get into voice acting, so let me go with a voiceover coach. You're gonna waste your money, okay? Any voiceover coach who says they're gonna take a beginner and start coaching you, guys, half the very first session is just gonna be you fumbling around with a microphone or your levels, or it's a waste of money. You can do all this on YouTube. You can find it on YouTube. So you need a coach when what you have done by yourself and what you've learned in workshops, you really want to hone down on something like your conversational read, or you want to hone down on your authoritative read, or you want to hone in on, your pre-life, building the scene before you actually start talking. These little things are just examples of things you can hone in on. And that's the purpose, I believe, of a one-on-one coach, which means that you need to be very, very careful when choosing a coach, because coaches can break you, not just financially. But I have personally experienced going with the coach one-on-one that people raved about. Several people told me, yeah, you should go with him. I coached with him, blah, 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 blah. I went with him, and he essentially tried to change me to match him, meaning my personal style, my personality. He was like, no, that's not it. You got to do this on this word. This word has to go this way, and this word has to go that way, and da-da-da-da. It's like, so I tried to follow him. And what ended up happening was I forgot how to read as me, as DJ Dykes. And I was not shortlisting, and I lost confidence because, like I said, he essentially broke my reads. The coach that you decide to go with should never try to change you. And that's why I said it's really important to understand who you are first, so that you know who you are. And when you feel like, oh, well, you're telling me not to be me, that's when your red flag should go up. It's not a good coach, okay? Second thing to consider, does this coach match my learning style? I'm gonna use Tina and Donovan again as examples. Tina is very kind, and she will let you get reads in and let you read, and then she'll give you some feedback, and it's very pointed feedback, but she's not so like punchy with it. She's very kind and understanding and very patient. Donovan, on the other hand, I'm not saying Donovan's impatient. That's not what I'm saying. Donovan, he'll tell you straight up, like, if your read sucks, I'm gonna tell you it sucks. okay? And I expect you to improve or to practice and come back in the next session and be better. He places high expectations on his talent because he wants you to succeed, and which can come across in his coaching style. It's just different strokes for different folks. If you're a person who's very sensitive and you don't like, somebody to point out all your flaws, which I don't understand why you wouldn't, you're paying them to do that. But if you're a person who's very sensitive and to that kind of thing, go with the coach that is a bit more coddling and kinder in that way. But how do you find that out is by having a consultation call. If the coach is very much in demand, like Tina or Donovan, having a consultation call is probably not going to happen, at least not free. A free consultation call should be offered, however, for almost every other coach, because unless you are at the top of the industry, you don't have any proof, a written testimonial. I mean, I don't know if that written testimonial is real. I want to hear word of mouth from people that I know. And so having a consultation call, even if it's just 10 or 15 minutes, man, I believe it should be free, or at least a minimal charge. Or, give you a discounted first session and then you make a decision from there. Coaching is expensive. And so you don't want to throw money at something and then find out 15 minutes into the session that they're not a good fit for you. You know what I mean? Next, always vet these coaches, man. As Robert mentioned in his video, and I've mentioned several times before, when COVID hit and the pandemic was going, many people who were voice actors suddenly couldn't go to their studios, like the agencies, to record in their booth, and they had to suddenly record from home. Many of these actors didn't have studios set up in their house, so they couldn't make money until they get the studio set up. In the meantime, they decided that, I guess I'll just start making money by offering coaching. This is where you saw the flood of people deciding, I want to be a voice talent finally in 2020 and 2021. And so many people who were voice actors decided that they were going to cash in on this influx of newbies. And so everybody decided to be a coach. But it's 2025 now. That flood is gone. Many of the people who decided they wanted to get in during the pandemic have washed out and they're back doing what they were doing before, or hopefully found some other form of work to make money. The ones that are still coaching, you need to make sure that this coach is actively working. When you have a consultation call with them, don't be afraid to ask, when was the last time you booked a job? What kind of job was it? Because there's a difference between booking a commercial or an animation role and booking an IVR. Okay, oh yeah, my last book job was last month or last week. I'm good. I booked last week. You can trust me. Yeah, and it turns out that their last book job was an IVR. I don't think so. I want to know, is this coach a working actor? Are they familiar with the trends that are going on in the industry? Do they know the difference between conversational and real and grounded? Do they know how to give an authoritative read? Have they got commercials that are running right now or have run recently that they can point you to and you can kind of see what they do? Also ask, who has this coach coached with? Because they're just going to be teaching you a lot of things that the other coach taught them and changing it and making it their own, right? So, for example, I coached with Tina and Donovan. If I ever decided to start coaching, you guys know, well, he coached with Tina, he's got to know something. But if I coach with, Joe Schmo, and I'm like, now I coach with Joe Schmo, I'm ready to coach you, but Joe Schmo is not really a good coach. You know what I mean? So that's something to keep in mind as well. If they are not a voice actor and they're a casting director, or they are, let's just go with casting director, make sure that the casting director is still working as a casting director, or has at least, kept their, finger on the pulse of the industry. They're still getting access to current copy. They understand what the trends are. They understand the industry still, and they're not retired 20 years ago and just sitting in their living room saying that they're going to coach you because they're going to give you bad information or outdated information. Trends change. We're seeing a trend change right now in voiceover with the new administration and stuff. Like, the vibe of commercials is shifting. Okay, it's shifting. And so that's something that the person should be aware of if they're going to coach you. Next, I don't know why I have to mention this, but make sure that the coach that you're reaching out to is working in the genre that you want to coach in. Okay? I'm never going to reach out to Tina Morasco for coaching in animation, or Donovan for coaching in animation. That's not what they do. You got to coach with somebody in animation. Don't coach with somebody whose specialty is commercial, but you want to be in a video game thing. You know what I'm saying? That's not to say that many voice actors don't work in multiple genres. But at the same time, if you're trying to learn from the best of the best, you need to look at the people who that's what they do. They have 10,000 hours built into this genre. Somebody emailed me yesterday asking if I could recommend any coaches or how to get started in animation. I haven't replied to him yet, but I will. It's just, you're reaching out to the wrong person. I don't touch animation. I don't touch video games, really. It's just not my thing. So for me to give coaching advice on those genres would be disingenuous. I can maybe recommend other people to reach out to, and maybe they can guide you. But me personally, that's not my genre. So I would never say I'm going to coach you in animation. Make sure the coach that you're looking at is working in the genre that you want to be working in as well. Next, is the coach open to answering all the questions that you have? If you guys haven't gotten the vibe yet, I tend to be an open book when it comes to this kind of stuff. I don't like people withholding information. I don't like people gatekeeping. I don't like people doing the whole carrot on a stick thing. I'll spoon feed you information, but I don't want to give you everything because you'll leave and then I'll lose my paycheck. The one thing that really stuck out to me with Donovan when I booked with him, the very first session was for promo. This is where I wanted to work. And in the very first session, I asked him, hey man, how much does promo pay? And that was a very direct question. And he did not hesitate. He was like, well, I can only tell you from my experience, but this is what it is. And that's stuck out to me. It's like, you didn't have to give me that information, but he did. I love the whole transparency thing. And he wasn't trying to gatekeep stuff. Even when I started looking at signing with my current manager, which is ACM Talent, I had heard so many different takes on ACM. Most of them were not favorable. But Donovan's actually with ACM Talent, or at least he was at the time. And so I asked him, hey man, I'm considering reaching out to them. Can you tell me about them? And he gave me the real, and it was a very grounded, unbiased response. And I appreciated that. And so I love coaches that do that. It's the same thing with Tina. Tina, if you ask Tina any question, she'll give you the real, okay? But if you're asking a coach and they say, oh, we'll get to that later, you know what? Let me pencil that down in our next session. We'll talk about that. Oh, I don't think you're ready for that yet. You need a few more sessions. We'll talk about that when the time comes. No, that's the whole carrot on a stick thing. Don't fall for it, guys, okay? And lastly, should you stick with the same coach or should you change coaches often? You should change coaches as often as it takes to find a coach that fits you. But once you find a coach that fits you, especially if that coach is one of the top coaches in the industry, you stick with that coach as long as possible, okay? Don't stick with the first coach you get with, okay? That's not what I'm saying, because the first coach you get with may not be the best coach. Even if you feel like it is, test the waters a little bit. Go to 3 or 4 different coaches and stuff, ask around, go to LinkedIn, find out who's booking at the conferences and who's speaking, who's getting awards, who has podcast interviews, and then, go out there and just ask them, some questions and stuff. And if you book a session and it vibes with you, then keep going with them, okay? As far as how long you should coach with a person, when I first booked with Donovan, I remember I asked him, do you offer any packages? Many coaches on Gravy for the Brain or GVAA, they offer coaching packages, 8 sessions for some rate. He was like, no, I don't offer packages. You book me when you need to book me. And at first I didn't understand. I'm like, well, then what about a discount if I book 8 in advance? But, who's to say that you want to stick with the coach for 8 sessions? You might get to your 4th session and be like, oh, I need to switch now. You know what I mean? So I don't necessarily think that the package deal is a great thing. But if you find a coach that you really like and is giving you results and you feel like you're improving, don't change. Stick with them. Stick with them and grow as far as you can grow. If you feel like the coaching sessions are beginning to feel less like a learning session, and more like a, hey, how are your kids doing? Oh, how is her? It's like a catch-up session. Then perhaps it's time to move on, because you don't want to spend money just to have a friend. Okay, yeah, it can happen. And the longer you coach with somebody, it can kind of turn into a colleagueship or a friendship sometimes. So there's nothing necessarily wrong with it. It's just you want to make sure you're getting your value for your money. And as a last note, when you're paying for coaching, many people ask, how much should I pay for coaching? Again, it depends on the coach. Rather than looking at the price, what I would ask you to think about is, what is this coach's availability like? If they're a booking actor, they shouldn't have full availability. They shouldn't be available for 8 sessions a day. It's impossible. All right. Just me by myself at ACM, half of my day is spent auditioning. You know what I mean? And so I had to find time to make content, and I had to find time to spend time with my family and my daughter and stuff. But like Donovan only does 1 session for 1 hour. After his work day is over, he does 1 hour of coaching, and then he spends the rest of the day with his family. Tina, again, she offers like 1 session every few days or so, and she's booked out months in advance. So that's something to keep in mind, supply and demand. Okay, it's just something to consider. And if you're trying to get like bang for your buck and the best value for your dollar, again, go back to the first thing I said. Like, is this person really a coach? Should they be coaching? Are they really going to give you growth and help you get to where you want to be? Cheaper isn't always better, but going expensive doesn't automatically make them a great coach either. There's a lot to think about, and Robert raised a lot of good questions. And where he is in his career, I was there, man. And so many people are there right now, or getting there. As a last note, this is specifically to you, Robert. It is March 24th, man. I have booked 8 jobs so far this year. None of them particularly huge jobs either. But compared to my time last year, I am still in the red. Okay? This time last year, from what I made last year, and now I'm still down by like 42% of what I earned by this time last year. Which means that it's not just you, bro. Like, the industry right now is kind of been in kind of a lull with the economy. Budgets are being cut all over the place. Ad agencies are not able to pay as much money for the voice talent. I'm not saying that there's fewer jobs. I'm just saying it's not as easy now as it was in 2021, where there was just a glut of money. Everybody had money, stimulus in the market, you know what I mean? So don't take it to heart when you're not getting your jobs booked or you're not getting as many shortlists as you want. Again, the number of shortlists you have is impressive, man, especially for somebody with no training. Oh, and I think you mentioned acting classes. I took Meisner through an online acting school. However, I think you would get more value from something like an improv workshop. Scott Parkin is his name. He offers improv. Also, Tim Powers. He offers this thing. It's called Timprov. Both of those are great improv coaches. They have workshops and stuff. Very fun. Very great for getting out of your head and just being free and spontaneous, which is really necessary for commercial copy. But you have a great sound, and I think if you could just get out of your head, a couple improv sessions will help you do that. Man, you're well on your way, dude, and I'm excited to see where your journey goes and stuff. So thanks for making the content, thanks for asking the questions, and giving me something to talk about. And I'll see you guys in the next video.